everyone. Welcome to What Just Happened. Fresh off of the conclusion of Possible in Miami, we welcome Christian Muche, Global President and Co-Founder. Welcome.
Hello, Christine.
Hello to you. How are you?
Recovering.
I am sure that it's been just adrenaline.
Recovering doesn't mean it's a bad feeling at all, because the background is that I'm recovering from providing, I think, a lot of positive moments for so many people in the last couple of days.
Recovering is meaning in a good way. You, as they say, you left it all on the field.
Yeah, exactly.
What you said at the closing, your closing comments was you had more than 7,300 people in attendance.
We ended up with 75, yeah.
Okay, so you ended up with 7,500 attendance, which is breathing down the neck of 10,000. It's really enormous. And you had, I believe you said, over 30% of brands and marketeers.
Correct, 32% based on those numbers, 32%. We had a 30% share based on last year's numbers with 5,400 in total. With this increase by more or less 2,000 attendees, increasing it by another 2%, we feel extremely proud.
As you should. What have you heard in terms of feedback? I thought the content was outstanding. And that's my favorite part, because I go to learn. And you know what? There was a lot of transparency. There was a lot of hand wringing. Two kind of major call outs from the industry, which is, ugh, walled gardens are a big problem. And how are we going to combat them? And how are we going to come together as an industry and use AI or some other way to define what it looks like going forward? Thoughts on that?
Yeah, I highly appreciate how you described it, that the content was outstanding. In very similar terms, I heard this from many this year. I feel that the efforts we spent, especially the content team, of course, to make sure to represent the entire marketing world on all the different stages, and the idea from the beginning on to provide so many different formats, not just the one big stage with the keynotes, right? But so much more intimate opportunities, which I think now after 3 years, now people fully recognize what different options they have and opportunities they have. So a mix of listening to a Cassan and Jeff Green discussion about walled gardens, or big CMO like Manolo and Karen Iversen, and then going into a creator economy academy with only 25, 30 people, which was the intention. And then listening to a leading creative creator and talking to a brand, or going into a VIP academy with a similar setup, being in a, not closed doors, but in an intimate environment for more peer-to-peer discussions, and having a Harvard professor bringing a topic up. This is something which I think pays off now. People understand now and use it. This was my opening. Don't just come and visit. Possible. Engaging and finding the right conversation, finding the right partner, new faces as well, not just the network you already know. This is something very important, I think, which only can provide some of the benefits and the outcomes. It was all about outcomes. That was also my opening topic. Possible was designed to deliver outcomes, and not just a nice, entertaining feeling or a nice feeling, which happens anyway because of the location and the venue, and then focusing on outcomes, and therefore that everybody can get something home and bring home into their teams, etc. That's very important. I think this variety of things with the introduction of the AI verse this year, which was a new stage, but also was surrounded by partners who show their solutions. I think this worked very well.
I spent a lot of time in the AI verse. I thought the presentations were really interesting.
We want to provide a different experience in so many details, and not just the usual one stage and 4 rows in front, and that's it.
The thoughtfulness of it is there. It shows when you're putting together a round stage and luxury seating around it, the thoughtfulness of that, and with the audience in mind, and consuming content in that forum. Literally, it's a forum from going back to Roman days, for sure. It came through. I liked the location of it because it was centrally located. So anytime you were like, I'm heading somewhere, let's see what's going on in the AI, theater,
It was
whatever.
busy what I've seen so over the 3 days.
I ended up at Adweek for a long time. Is that a good thing for you guys, or how does that, is it a
Yeah.
partnership?
It is. It's not a partnership in terms of content curation because we know whatever they will discuss, it belongs to the industry, which is good. So we are not taking care of their content, it's their partner content. But what we appreciated is that they see possible as so relevant and so valuable that they don't do it a mile away in another hotel. They wanted to become part of it. And therefore, they made an agreement with us to go in one of these suites, which we provide to our partners because it's a full buyout of the hotel, right? We own the hotel for the duration of possible. And this is what I highly appreciate. We work with them. They bring, therefore, as media partner, many journalists on site, and then they run their use, which they do at other events as well. But no, we are officially partnered. And this is how I prefer working with Female Quotient, like Portrait Media Group and Bonin. They are officially part of our footprint, part of our space we provide, and therefore we know about what kind of content they're going to present. We're not responsible for this, but therefore we can well coordinate everything with our official content as well.
So basically you're creating an ecosystem for the
Yes.
attendees
Correct.
to access the partners' content and networking, etc.
We've built something in the first 3 years, and it was on purpose, and it turned out very much as we wanted, how people see possible and so on. And now it feels, for now, the house is built. And now we own it. Now we are inviting people to our house to be our guests. So we own it. That's a different feeling than you still build something. That doesn't mean that we can modify and will modify just for next year, but it's just a little maintenance arbeit work here and there. That describes very well how it feels and how the feedback was. That people are now spending more time with us. We have a lot of first-timer CMOs who came this year and said it was amazing because we provide the different formats, the big stage, but also the intimate peer-to-peer discussions, which the more senior people they are, the more they like those events or those formats. The execution, I think, was, for that size of event, exceptional, and people recognize without asking that they see now many more details, how we do things differently. Design things, signage, the level of personalization, including myself. I'm not hiding in meetings all day long. I'm walking around. I want to see it myself and feel it myself, how people experience this.
I can't believe you said that. And I'm sure there's more you can add there, but it is a major point of mine for this discussion, which is how present you were. You were in the party, you were like boogieing, you were taking selfies with people, you were approachable, you are the heart and soul of the event, recognizing your team and recognizing all the hard work of everyone. But at an event of this size, for there to be a singular persona dictates a different type of passion to the machine that's running it. It doesn't take away from the team's hard work, but it sets it apart. It has a personality. You are the personality, and you very much cut the figure of the possible essence. And it's very much a distinction that I wanted to bring up on this discussion and commend you for it and get your thoughts on how and why you feel that's important.
It started when I started working on this project for more than 4 years ago, because I felt there was a need, first thing. And I think beside the idea, the positioning, the concept, and then the level of execution, and of course, everything has to come together. That already made a difference. As a new event, specifically as a new event, it's a different story if you're Cannes Lions and exist for 70 or 75 years already. You have a lot of legacy and that. But as a new event, that requires more efforts. And then on top, I felt when I went to, I think I've seen all industry events around the world. And in most cases, I feel no custom level of treatment or joy to be there. It feels very much standard business as usual. This was never my idea, and I would never do such an event or such a business. I would never run or agree to such a business. And I also, honestly, I thought, okay, this is what I believe, and if I show it in my way, then it makes also a difference for people. Also, if we are business people and know each other for business reasons, and it's not family, but it turns something into a more personal relationships with many, and that's a good thing. Maybe I'm old-fashioned, but I think in this completely digitalized world, people appreciate this.
So I wasn't sure if it was going to stay like that because you've been acquired and they have a formula. They run their shows the way they run their shows.
But I got acquired 2 years ago, so we already had 2 shows with a new owner. Not sure if people see a difference when we talk about this. So therefore, I still see it as my baby. It's my team. It's my baby, my customers. There will be a point at some stage, maybe in 150 years, where I won't be there anymore. But as long as I'm involved, this is one of my key approaches, and nobody will tell me to change that as long as I'm there.
I want to go back to the house comment, which is other businesses joining the house for the term of the event. So you had ad week, you had free meal quotient, but this type of thing is getting absolutely huge in other events. If you're in Vegas, you can rent a suite and not have anything to do with the actual event. And like you said, they can go off-prem and kind of diversify the traffic flow. But I think what you're building is everyone's welcome and they want to build onto what you're building. Now, will we see more of these kind of partnerships coming?
I hope so, not having any specific ones in mind, but I hope so, because this is where I believe the industry in general needs to be also learn a bit better, because technically or physically, however we call it, it's not possible to bring really every single one who's doing something into this footprint. Otherwise, we would talk about the entire Miami Beach area, I think. So there's nothing wrong if somebody says, hey, for whatever reasons, I'm next door at the Soho House, or maybe 2 doors next at another hotel, but still with this centralized feeling, walking distance, and not walking distance meaning a mile away, the whole Crozet up and down again, or being in the hills in a villa. This is a proof for this event to be very close, completely integrated, or very close attached to this. I can't do anything if somebody says, I do some things like in CES, at CES or in Cannes, 5 miles away. I can't do anything. That's damn right. Is it good for the industry? I don't think so, because this is already happening at other events, and we see what's happening. People feel disconnected, too concurrent, too competitive, especially when everybody does, like in Cannes, their own programming now from morning till evening. There was a time they only did 1 or 2 sessions per day. Now everybody in suites, on yachts, on the beach, in the villas, they all run their programming all day long. Looking around, and then you see sometimes only 5, 4 people in this audience. I feel sad for those organizers, but it's an industry approach. We have to work here as an industry. It doesn't pay off for everybody to do this. And it would only pay off if we bring in 100,000 people, then everybody might get enough share. But then the core event, which serves the industry, and therefore everybody who is coming here, will change dramatically. And then it's no longer possible. So at some stage, the industry has to understand it doesn't make sense that every single one does it, because then it's becoming too fragmented. Using the opportunity, what we've built, what I did, took the risk, built something to serve the industry, and also from a perspective that most of the companies do it differently at other events. Let's do it here. Let's agree. We have to slightly do it here differently when it comes to all these individual ideas. Part of this officially be in some way connected. Also, if it's not physically on site, we can work together, we can communicate together, we can serve our audience in the same way. I think this is also something we built here very special, and we should keep it. we should keep it also that people understand this is not becoming another CES. This is not becoming another Ken Lines in terms of these massively concurrent programming.
Totally agree. It's what makes it special. I would really like to discuss your book that you announced. Tell me everything.
Okay, it's in progress, of course, and therefore I cannot provide so much details at this stage. It was a big decision for me. On the other hand, like always, as an entrepreneur, you do your research, you think about it, and then it's sometimes you have to make decisions. You have to decide because of your guts, your feelings, etc. And therefore, I don't know exactly yet what the outcome is. But of course, I have a very well understanding that the title is "The Future is Possible." It's not about the event, but it's about talking to the right people, bringing them together. It's also about my personal story. Coming from the industry, was the first guy back in Germany who sold an advertising banner in the middle of 90s, got an understanding for the industry, brought them together, organized the industry in Germany, moved to New Zealand with my family for lifestyle reasons. 2 months later, moving to New Zealand, launched a new business in Europe, which became New Mexico. Took the risk, used to remote work. COVID didn't mean a massive change for me. And now the masterpiece was possible in the US in a complete different market, in the market, as a half Kiwi, half German now, telling the Americans how to do events, all these things. So it all comes together, and maybe also some kind of fun secret stories from backstage.
That sounds.
And hopefully some lessons for the marketeers, for not just the marketeers, but for the industry people.
Listen, you become the essence of possible. And it's such a wonderful, optimistic word and mindset.
Yeah.
And so you've got yourself as the essence of it. You've got your event. And now you're going to write a book called The Future is Possible, which is all encompassing to all of the things that you've been through. And we will wait. You made a big decision. You decided to do it. Now that you've told us, can't go back.
I'm in.
We'll wait. I really want to thank you. I personally think the event was amazing. I know next year it's moving up to April 5th, 7th. We'll make sure to get that out there. And we'll make sure everyone knows to sign up for next year.
Sounds amazing.
I really want to thank you. Enjoy.
Thank you so much, Christine.
Take
You
care.
too. Talk soon. Bye.
Bye. That is what just happened. I'm Christine Russo.